I was really interested in the origin story as well as human narratives of how you got involved in this club and what brought you to this club and why you've stayed so long and kind of what you want to pass on to your students.
Okay. So origin story?
Yeah,
mine?
Yeah, that would be great if you feel comfortable. If not, just talking about your experience in the club too.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna record. You're being recorded.
Okay, thank you. So I came to this club probably about 30 years ago, and the whole reason why I came to this club, I looked at other clubs and they were very competitive. And when I came down, I saw Sigong, and I saw his granddaughter, and I saw the old club, and just everything that was there cried authentic. And I had been on the search for something because my doctor had said, you have to go do something. I'm a severe asthmatic, and so with that, the doctor said, okay, go find something, because otherwise by the time you're 60, you're going to die. So I was out on the search for something, went in there and watched, and it started from there. So with that, I've come to find and learn from Sigong and his granddaughter that a lot of the values and the beliefs actually reflect my values and beliefs. And I'm First Nations, so I'm from the Songhees over here, and it's really nice to see the crossing, the blending, and the melding of the two cultures, and the similarity between the two, and the way that health, life, philosophy, emotions, mental, all works together. You cannot do Kung Fu without doing a soul search. You have to look at who you are and what you want, because this style pushes you, and that's what the idea of Kung Fu is that it's a holistic thing. And so it permeates all aspects of life, everything from relationships to how you treat yourself, to how you treat friends, to how you treat the community, to all those kind of things. It works in problem solving. The idea of this is to be aware of your surroundings, of your community, of what's going on, and be able to evade things before they happen. So you're constantly aware, having to constantly think, which is really nice about this. The more that I've delved into the Kung Fu, the more, and the philosophies and its history and how it comes about, it's so similar to First Nations in so many ways, because it comes from the land, working with the land, working with the world around you, and it's not about the technical world. It's about hands involved with the world around you, so you're personally involved. The way that this style works, as for fighting and for the movements and everything that you're doing, it all incorporates all of that all at the same time. You would have to come in and see and participate to really wholly understand. But the idea of being able to literally feel your opponent and what your opponent is doing, and then be able to react and move to that. But it's not a planned thing. It's a thing of sensing where your opponent's going to be. You cannot go into it with a pre-formed thought, and that's a great way to walk into any kind of situation. Because if you pre-think something, then you've already created a prejudice. And so this teaches you, if you really get into it, it teaches you how to be in the moment, which is quite amazing. And as you get into it, it's more and more and more. So, more?
Thank you. That was amazing. Would you be able to say on footage what your name is? And I guess back to the origin story, how did you find this community? How did you find out about the Kung Fu Club in the first place?
So my name's Mark Kelvin. And how I found out about it was there was another gentleman, another First Nations fellow who was fairly strong in the community. And he and I bumped into each other, and he had said that, "Oh, you want to go down to see Wong Shong?" I said, "Where is it?" It sounds kind of cheesy, but it's like the old Kung Fu TV show. Go to Chinatown. So went down to Chinatown and walked around and around until finally saw this little tiny sign, and it said Kung Fu Club. All right. So walked up the set of stairs and walked in and was enshrouded by everything that was going on. People were doing things just like this, but the cool thing about the old club is that it was in Chinatown, and there was always incense burning, all the weapons were around, all the banners, and the building in itself was over 100 years old. And the club had been in there since '74, and there was another club that was in there previous to that. And so the energy just permeated the whole club. And so that's how I found it. I looked around and I looked through the phone book, I did all those kinds of things. I walked around, I talked to people, but that connection that he had said, "I've been there, I practiced with this fellow, he is a true, honest soul," and that's what drew me there. Because all the other clubs were, they're different than this, they're good clubs, but they were more sport oriented. And this isn't sport oriented. This is designed to protect the village, to protect the family, to develop yourself. And again, that's what drew me there. So that's it's one.
Do you want to add anything to that?
So we heard that the origin of this club was as like a muscle for the Chinese Freemason Society? Do you know anything about that? Could you tell us a bit about it?
Every Chinatown, every village had its militia, and so they had to have somebody to protect the village, protect the people. And when people came over here for the gold rush, and that they were constantly being put down, challenged by the larger community. And so as they followed old traditions, they had to have their own militia. And so it was part of every community to have somebody who was the muscle, somebody who was the militia, somebody who would go out and fight for the rights, because that's what you do. You try to work it out. If it doesn't work, then you go to it. And so the club was that they were the club for they were the muscle, if you want to say it like that, for the community. By the time this club had started, it had changed, it had morphed. But even in the day, back when the club was in its origins, it was the fact that other clubs would come in and challenge. So they would come in, they'd watch, and then they'd go, "Okay, let's see how good your Kung Fu is." And they'd challenge. There was a couple times when some people would come in and they would challenge Sigong, and so he would always be very nice and try to talk to him about the club. But there's the story goes that once there's somebody who did that, it's just a quick, and the fellow was down. The interesting thing about this club is that Wang Sheng is known worldwide. He was known all around the world, literally all around the world. Australia, England. After I joined the club, I went down to Hawaii, and I went into Chinatown there, and I was looking around one of the stores, and I saw this nice set of mini weapons. I said, oh, I want to buy that. So I went up there, and I talked to the lady, and I says, can I buy this? Oh, yes. Well, do you practice? Yes, I do. Where do you practice? Oh, in Victoria, BC, in Canada. Oh, okay. And I didn't know if she knew where that was, so I says, just cross the water to Vancouver. She says, who's your master? I says, Wang Sheng. And she goes, Wang Sheng! Wang Sheng! Oh, very good. Comes from Hong Kong. Very good. Oh, great master. Oh. And so she went on to extol about all of the great deeds that he had done. And at that point, I was duly impressed. So, Hawaii, small little community, and they knew him. Vancouver is very well known. There was a group of friends, and they had all the martial arts schools around, and they were very well known because their kung fu was well renowned. Nobody would mess with them. So yeah. Does that answer it?
That's great. Thank you.
That's amazing.
Do you mind, just before I turn this off,
Sure.
just spelling your first and last name so we have it, just so we don't get it wrong?
Oh, okay. MarkAlbany, Lake River, New York.
Perfect. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Mark.
You're welcome. Thank you.